So this past weekend, Kaizer Chiefs made their return to African club competition by virtue of winning last year's FA Cup. They played in the Confederations Cup and they were in the first round qualifiers where they faced Angolan side Cabo Scorp. The game ended in defeat. They lost 1-0 away from home. But the trending topic wasn't just Kaizer Chiefs' first ever defeat against Angolan opposition, it was who didn't make the trip to Luanda. And the most famous person of the Kaizer Chiefs delegation to miss the trip was the man in charge, the coach, Nassradine Nabi. And it's been a turbulent week for the Belgian Tunisian and for the club itself, where there have been rumors of his departure, and in some cases there's been a suspension of his contract, a suspension of his duties. Now it has led to serious questions. What next? Is he or is he not the coach of Kaizer Chiefs? Was he backdoored by his staff, or simply he's just not allowed to sit in the dugout per regulations? What really is going on? Hi, I'm the Football Otaku and welcome to this latest video. And in this video I'm going to be talking about the struggles of Nassradine Nabi and Kaizer Chiefs and this latest situation. Of course, if you guys are liking the video, don't forget to like, to share and subscribe, and also thank you for the support. And in my last video, which was a huge video for me, which was essentially the backstory of the rivalry between South Africa and Nigeria, thank you guys for the immense support there. But again, if you guys are liking the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and give your feedback. But enough of that, let's break down the story, starting with... So we now head into Nassradine Nabi's second year in charge at Kaizer Chiefs, and the first year was very mixed. I mean, this was a coach who we heavily touted and heavily courted for his arrival. And when he finally arrived, I mean, his record so far at Kaizer Chiefs has read 35 games and 12 wins. Not necessarily a glowing record for an Amakosi manager, especially for a team and for a fan base that demands so much. But he did deliver and finally achieve something that Kaizer Chiefs hadn't achieved since 2015, winning a trophy, winning the last year's FA Cup, beating Orlando Pirates in the final, the first time we've won that competition in 12 years. So he already has some credits in the bank, but his league form hasn't always been the best, or hasn't always met the demands of the Amakosi community. I mean, we missed out on the top 8, again, the top half of the table, but you could say it was a slight improvement from the horror show that was Mulife Nteki and Calvin Johnson season, where, I mean, Kaizer Chiefs only picked up more points in the calendar year than the teams that eventually got relegated from the top flight. I mean, it was a really rough season, that previous season. So Nabi had already improved the team, already improved the results, but already there were certain criticisms and certain mistakes that he had already made, especially at coaching Kaizer Chiefs, and especially how he was sort of stubborn in his tactics, which has led to a very negative sort of remark towards him and towards the fandom. So you'd really feel that it's fractured the Amakosi community in two. On one, there's a group of Kaizer Chiefs fans who would like to see Nabi gone and would like to start somewhere else, but there are others who feel that he needs more time to prove himself. I mean, we've worked so hard to get him here, and for him to have 1 year, yes, an undermining year in the league, but considering where we came from, it was always the gap between us and the sort of bigger sides, or the sides that are above us in the table, is always going to be difficult to close. And he's brought us a trophy, which is what we stand in his defense. So it was always going to be very difficult in that first season, especially knowing that later in the season he ended up getting the players he sort of profiled. Like, you look at the striker, the Congolese striker Lilepo, and you look at Sereno, and a lot of the players that sort of he wanted and he profiled that have now started to come, and he started to build the team in his image. And even this season, they've started very, very strong. I mean, we only lost one game. We only recently just lost our first game against at home to Kukune. But since then, we've only conceded again those goals against Kukune, and we've made a very strong start. I mean, we won 3 in a row, our first 3 for the first time in quite a long time. And for a team that isn't really challenging for the championship, or I feel we're not challenging for the championship, it's made a very, very good start that we are near the top, and we're near sort of there or thereabout near the top of the table. So here's where the inconsistencies sort of come in. Nabi missed the early part of the season. I mean, he was there for our preseason tour of the Netherlands, which, although results-wise was a bit of a failure, I mean, we can't really judge on preseason. It'd be so difficult to judge on preseason. But we wasn't there for the early parts of the season due to a family emergency. Since then, Cedric Kaizer, his assistant, has been coaching the team, and from there, Kaizer Chiefs have made a pretty strong start. Some have even accused that Nabi is the one who is sabotaging the team, and the ones cleaning the mess, or the ones who are the true tacticals, were his assistants. A theory that I do not buy, and it's a theory that I do not believe to be true, a theory that I think is actually downright terrible. And really, you'd feel that on some parts that's been a bit of a problem for him, that he's had this personal emergency with his family. He's had to fly back to Tunisia, and having had not a lot of contact with the team, which is something that's very important for any manager, to have direct contact with the team, direct contact with the players, i.e. being in the training ground and being there and being able to speak to the players themselves, or to communicate to the players themselves, is already something that's been made very, very difficult for him. And I feel that for Nabi, it has really lent into the problems that has arisen amongst him and the club. One other theory, though, and this is a theory that I don't believe but has definitely been swirling around, has been that Nabi's qualifications. Now, Nassradine Nabi has a UEFA A license. It's something that he actually studied on in the Belgian Federation, the Royal Belgian Football Federation's HQ. He actually shared the same class with another coach who's worked in Africa and is currently working in the PSL, Luc Emael, a fellow Belgian. He did his UEFA A license, which is what he has, but for CAF club competitions, it is said that you have to have a CAF A license to be able to sit in the dugout and be able to coach the team from there. This creates a lot of inconsistencies because, for one of Nassradine Nabi's biggest achievements was leading young Africans of Tanzania to the CAF Confederations Cup final in 2023, where they faced and sadly would come up short against Algerians USM Alger. The thing is, Nabi was on the touchline for a lot of those games, especially games against the likes of Marumo Gallants in the semi-final, the final, both home and away against USM, and some of those other games as well in the group stage. So at that time, either the criteria has changed, which would have already been noted, but the fact that he's already sat in the dugout before, even with these qualifications, or he's even bettered these qualifications, makes very little sense to say that it's the qualifications. Plus, this is something that Kaizer Chiefs would have already known. Surely when Kaizer Chiefs were searching for him, surely they would have known what kind of qualifications he has, or what kind of licenses that he holds. I mean, this is something that Kaizer Chiefs should have known. It's such a big club, a club that does a lot of its research on the people they hire or they scout. Surely they would have done the research that this is what he has, and this wouldn't be some sort of inconvenience that can be sorted out over time. So I definitely feel there's a bit of unprofessionalism on the club's part, but also on the part of CAF as well, knowing that he has sat on the dugout before with these licenses, or with this UEFA license, and yet now that they've changed the rules, it kind of looks a little strange that he's not being allowed to coach the team from there. And it also adds to the sort of insecurity, not just the permanent insecurity around his job, but now the current insecurity that he's not at the club as often as he was last season. Again, no fault of his own, but now it sort of adds to the more a more gloomy conspiracy, a more sort of gloomy environment as to why he's not part of the club, or why he's not coaching the team. And it only really adds more questions than answers as to, is he really, I like to believe he's actually coaching the team from where he is, but is he really in charge, or is he really present in the club, which is something that's very, very important for a club with the stature of Kaizer Chiefs. So, where does this leave us? Where does it leave the Amakosi community? Like I said, I already mentioned earlier in the video the divide amongst the Amakosi fandom, that there are a group who feel we should bin the coach. He's not done good enough. Yes, he's won us the FA Cup, but we need more and we demand more from him, and we feel that we should be more successful. But I am anti-Nabi out. In fact, I'm Nabi in. I'll probably state that in the video, and simply because it's going to take time. I mean, for years, Kaizer Chiefs, this 10-year, people forget that how hard this 10-year trophy drought, or this banter era has been on the club, and how we've had to watch our rivals, likes of Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, achieve a lot of great things both domestically and on the continent. People seem to forget how far behind we truly are behind the Buccaneers and the Brazilians. People tend to forget that, and it's a gap that we're not going to erase in 2 or 3 seasons. This is something that needs time to be fixed, and where there's time, there needs to be patience. And sacking Nassradine Nabi or getting rid of him would be the absolute epitome of lacking of patience, especially after one season. Yes, the domestic season wasn't great, but winning the FA Cup sort of gives us a sense of there is a sense of progression. Now the players will know and will taste what it's like to win a trophy. They'll know what it's like to finally achieve success with this massive club, and they'll already have the memories of winning trophies with this huge club, and it's going to motivate them to want to achieve more and to achieve a lot of success with this team. So of course it's going to be very, very difficult. This long road is going to be very, very difficult, and to be honest, hoping to win the championship, especially now, it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. I mean, look at Orlando Pirates. After their banter years, it took a long time for them to repair, especially under coach Jose Rivero. It took them a long time to sort of find themselves again. And where did they start? They started by winning domestic trophies. And after winning those domestic trophies, then they started to regain the confidence, started to get closer and closer and closer to Sundowns. Will they dethrone them one day? I mean, possibly. The chances are definitely there, considering that we always say this at the beginning of the season, and then Sundowns somehow end up winning the league at the end, that Sundowns seemed heavy-legged. They seemed very, very drained. A team that looks very, very tired. You can tell that the Club World Championship really took a lot out of them, and now they're starting to truly feel it in the campaign. So I feel that for Chiefs fans, we need to have a degree of patience. We need to at least give Nabi one last season, at least this season. But also for me, I'd have to call out the club for the lack of transparency. I mean, a lot of major journalists were running out of with the headline that Nabi had been fired by the club, which already is a huge piece of news to break, and a news that isn't necessarily true. Yes, he's been suspended by the club, but there's been no transparency from the club of whether he is still in the job or he has been fired or we're looking for somebody else, especially for this, and especially with the strong start to the season that we've had. It would be very, very counterproductive to get rid of him this early into the season, especially this part into his tenure, knowing that he could be building something special, something that's going to take a while to build. And getting rid of him, knowing that we worked so hard to get him in the first place, is not a great look. And not only is it not a great look, but then now it means we'll have to rebuild and restart. And essentially start all over again to try and win the championship and essentially rip the playbook up again. So I feel personally, with Nabi, I feel he has to stay. It's the only logical solution, and we'll probably need more from the club. We'll need more communication and more transparency, because now the season begins to pile up. I mean, like I said, we trail Cabo Scorp 1-0 in this Confederations Cup qualifier, and now we have the home leg. Knowing that it's such a tie in such a delicate situation so early in the campaign, it will be a huge knock on the fans and the confidence of the team if we get eliminated this early in the Confederations Cup, which is very, very unlike us. Yes, we don't have a really glowing reputation in continental competition, but getting knocked out this early will be something that'll be truly dark, and something that'll be truly embarrassing. And the club needs to make a decision. I mean, yes, they've suspended him, but they need to make a long-term decision. Do we keep him? Do we stick with what we have? Or do we twist and do the more extreme solution and try something else, such as try a new coach, or try a new system, or try a new adventure? But I feel for Kaizer Chiefs, they have to sort of pull their pants up, pull their big boy pants on, and actually try and make a decision, make a meaningful decision that will push the way forward for this club, because this benefits no one. I mean, it doesn't benefit the players because they don't know if Nabi's staying or not. It doesn't benefit the fans because they now have to draw to their own conclusions, and that's never a good idea. And it also doesn't serve, especially in this crucial part of the season where the fixtures start piling up. The League Cup is starting up again. The championship the big games of the championship start to come close. And now with this continental campaign, the amount of uncertainty around the coach and the dugouts is not healthy at all, and needs to be fixed very, very quickly before we tackle any of the problems on the pitch. And that's it. That's the end of the video. That is my opinion on the Nassradine Nabi situation. Tell me though in the comments, how do you feel about it? Should Nabi stay? Should he go? Do you think the club is taking this a little too far, or CAF even are taking this a little too far? Let your thoughts known in the comments, and thank you again for watching the video all the way to the very end. You're an absolute warrior, and it's been your boy the Football Ozaku, and never forget, real football always wins. Check you on the flip side. Bye bye. Deuces.